So today we're going to work on a sequence that is based on the floor, and it's to open the outer hip area. And whenever we're working with our outer hip, it's really helpful to understand a concept in terms of how the hip joint works. So the hip joint is a ball and socket. All right, so there's a socket, there's a ball, and this is what allows it to rotate. So rotation is the name of the game here today, specifically external rotation. So check it out. If I take my leg and from my hip, I externally rotate. Okay, I could do that with my knee bent, external rotation. I'm rotating it away from the center line of my body. Conversely, I can also internally rotate my hip. So internal rotation. To open up the hip, well, you can do it with a lot of different things, but the emphasis of today's class is going to be on external. I'm going to show you a couple of poses from standing so you can see them a little bit easier. I don't have like a overhead rig. So, first thing, knee to chest, simple, you know that. Thread the needle, you know that. Um, reclining pigeon. Reclining and pigeon, I can kind of do it standing here. So the leg is going to be in external rotation from the hip, okay? So the knee is going to be out to the side, and we're going to be holding on to our foot with both hands. Now, the tendency will be just to kind of bring that foot, let it rest close to the belly, close to the pelvic region, but we really want to take this foot away from us, and we're trying to like go up and like over the head. It's not going to get there necessarily, but that's the direction that we're going in. After that, we'll do half happy baby. Okay, so I'm going to kind of break down half happy baby really quick by telling you where it gets its name. Um, we've done yoga squat in earlier practices. So if we were to take yoga squat, all right, and flip it on its back. So here I am in yoga squat. Boom. This is happy baby pose. You don't have to roll into it like that. I'm just showing you that yoga squat is essentially uh, happy baby pose on its back. I've actually got a teacher who calls this dead bug pose as well. All right. So half happy baby, okay, would just be taking, instead of taking both legs, we're just going to take the one leg. Okay. You can grab on in the outside, the inside. The heel sometimes is a nice place to grab. But essentially, half happy baby, if you really think about it, is just like lizard pose. All right. So if we were to kind of take this and flip it on its back, similar action. Okay. Arms inside the knee, just to give you a little bit of a feel. So you might even want to call that like dead lizard, I guess. The next pose, half upward frog. Don't worry about it. You'll understand the frog later on uh, in future classes. But upward frogs, we're going to be on our back. And the crucial thing here is, again, still we're in the external rotation where the knee is going straight out to the side. So we're essentially observing three 90-degree angles. There's a 90-degree angle here at the hip, 90-degree angle here at the knee, and also at the ankle. All right. The tendency for a lot of people in this pose, again, this is going to be on our back, we're doing this, is to have this foot kind of hanging out here. They miss the 90-degree in the knee. They have the knee too low, so there's not the 90-degree in the hip, or they're just kind of letting their foot hang out, so they're missing the 90-degree in the ankle. After that, we're going to take this leg across the body for a twist. So that's just kind of like a quick, rapid fire concept attack to prepare you for what's to come. Now, of course, you can always just pause the video as I'm doing it and try to get a better view of what I'm doing. So I'll try to put myself in the best position. I might move around a little bit. You stay where you're at. And of course, breathe deeply. So with that being said, let's get into this bad mamma jamma. It's going to be a shorter one. It's a really nice one. You can do this as a component and combine it with other components. You can do this as just this, maybe before you go for a run or something like that, or just, a nice way to connect with your breath in your body any time of the day you'd like. So come onto your backs. We will take a moment, as we always do, to arrive. All right. Deep exhale out, maybe hand on the heart, hand on the belly, and soften the eyes here. And let's just take a quick non-judgmental check-in. So as you become aware of your breathing, first, get used to that awareness of the breath. I know sometimes when I start thinking about my breath, it kind of tightens up a little bit. So give yourself that moment to relax and deepen. And then I want you, as you deepen your breath, as you feel it come in and out, just take a moment, check in with how you feel physically. Check in for a moment how you feel mentally. And how do you feel emotionally? And you might not have an answer to all of those. You're just sort of asking your body, asking your being. And if some feedback comes back, great. And if not, let it go. And if the feedback comes up as something you maybe don't want or you don't think you should have, again, non-judgmental. So let that go as well. We'll be spending about 3 to 5 breaths in each pose. So depending on the length of your inhales and exhales, it might be 3, it might be 5. But let's get this show on the road. So we'll start with the left knee. So draw the left knee into the chest. Interlace the fingers around the front of the knee and draw it in as best you can. Now, take a couple of ankle circles. So 3 in each direction. Not too fast, not too slow. Just kind of find a good even pace. Squeeze that knee into the chest. Now some hip circles. So we're going to take the hip out to the side. You can even let the knee go. So we're just going to kind of lubricate and loosen up that hip a little bit, 3 in each direction. Staying connected with your breath as best you can. Noticing the external rotation as you go out to the side, internally as you come in, and then go ahead and grab the knee again. And we'll reach the straight leg away from you. So really get some length, get some activity going here in the straight leg. And now we're going to move into thread the needle. All right. So you can kind of take a peek and watch me as I set this up. I'm going to bend this knee in towards the chest, and I'm going to just let it catch my ankle to come into the pose. Okay. And of course, we've done this before in earlier practices and lessons. If you're just joining us now, you can notice the grabbing behind the knee or in front of the knee. Deepen the breath here by drawing the lever leg, I call it, the one you're grabbing onto, drawing that in while the opposite leg pushes away. So we're engaging a little bit here. One of the things I like to play with on this last breath or two is just think about taking your lower body. Okay, so everything stays the same, just your lower body tilts over toward the lever leg. Looks like maybe 1 inch to 3 inches. Go slowly. You might find this changes the angle a little bit as we start to really examine and explore the outer hip. Last breath here. Now, one way you can think about this is you're grabbing on with 2 hands, okay, on this lever leg. Now, this leg that's in front of us, we're going to take those 2 hands and we're going to grab onto the foot, okay? So we had two hands grabbing on the lever leg, now two hands grab onto the foot. The knee stays out to the side. So I'm still in external rotation. So I'm not going to bring this knee in, keeping it out to the side. Now I'm going to straighten my bottom leg, and I'm going to take this top foot away from me. I'm going to spin back around so you can see. So this foot is lifting away from me. The knee is still out to the side. I'm still in external hip rotation. Again, I'm not hanging out down here. I'm not bringing my knee in toward my belly. In fact, as I inhale, I'm going to take my foot away from my body. So it's like going to straighten my arms out as much as they can go. Even my shoulders are pulling up a little bit. It's okay. Now, on the exhale, I'm thinking about taking this foot back as I'm trying to like go like behind my head. All right. In fact, let's all just do that for a second. So kind of lift your head up off the ground. You're not going to put your foot behind your head. Well, maybe some of you can, but this is try to like just go in that direction as if you were trying, and don't be attached. Don't force it. Don't injure yourself here, but just feel that direction and that energy. Keep that happening and then lower the head and shoulders back down for another breath or two. So this is reclining pigeon. Again, this straight leg on the bottom, really straighten it out. And my hips are tight enough where when I really straighten this leg, it kind of floats, and you can sort of see how that happens. So as I keep that leg straight, I'm going to try to lever it toward the ground maybe a little bit. It's going to get kind of intense, so I'm going to back off. Last breath here. All right, so we had two hands grabbing onto the lever leg for thread the needle. Then we had two hands grabbing onto that foot. It was right in front of us. It was an easy transition to reclining pigeon. The next pose is going to be half happy baby. Okay, so now we're only going to use one hand. So this right hand gets out of the game, relaxes down, and we're going to take our left foot and stack it on top of the left knee. All right, so earlier that foot was kind of coming across our body, kind of even with our heart. Now it's out to the side. Again, this is similar to like that low lizard position, just kind of flipped on our back. Now you can see my grip. I'm kind of my hands on the top of my foot, grabbing onto the pinky edge. I can also grab onto the inner arch. I can grab onto the inner ankle. Grabbing onto the inner heel is nice. If you find that your foot has a hard time getting on top of the knee, you can kind of take it again, like that lever action to pull it back. Now, again, you're going to work with your body and what works best for you. Doesn't matter where you get to, it's the quality that you do it with. Can you stay calm and focused, breathing deeply as you manage the sensation? Shake the head a little bit side to side here. And then try to get that knee kind of down toward the ground a little bit. Again, don't force it, but once you have that foot stacked on top, then push it down. So instead of in like low lizard, we're using our body weight and gravity to sort of enter into this uh, position. Now we're using the strength of our arm a little bit, not a whole lot of body weight or gravity helping us here. So do your best with this. Again, reaching this opposite leg away, starting to liven that up. See what happens when you do that. So we went from two hands on the lever leg to two hands on the foot to now one hand on the foot. Now we're going to release, keeping the 90-degree angles. Remember, we're going to go no hands now, and we're going to take the knee out to the side. I'm going to spin around really quickly here. You can stay where you're at. Okay, just to show you from this side, because my knee is not resting on the ground. Okay, this knee is straight out from the hip, foot straight out from the knee. Okay, so get our 390-degree angles. This works the groin muscle a little bit and activates the hip. So if this is happening for you, that's not quite it. Keep the right side of your body down. You want to keep that knee floated, half frog position or half upward frog position. Relax your face a little bit here. Like about 1 to 2 more breaths, again, depending on the rhythm and the speed of your inhales and exhales. And remember this opposite leg. Reach that out to the side. Really get that going. Now, reclining spinal twist. What we're going to do is we're going to take our left hand to assist this knee as it comes up. Then we're going to pass it over to the right hand. Right hand's going to come on the outside of the knee. And we're going to take it for a ride all the way across the body as we exhale. Reach this left arm away from you or up towards your ear. Anywhere in between works. You might get some like kind of spinal fireworks here, a little snap, crackle, pop. That's totally normal if that happens. Don't freak out. So really work your diaphragmatic breath here. You're now like kind of displacing your abdominal organs in a twist. And so if you really use the diaphragm to breathe down on the inhale, it kind of massages them in a unique way. And really use your exhale to empty out, maybe get a little bit deeper, rather than like yank on your body as you try to maybe get a release in your back. You'll finish on an exhale. So again, wait for your next exhale. If you want to linger here for a bit longer, that's fine too. And then slowly, when you're done, just kind of come onto the back for a moment. You can bend both knees, put them flat, a little half Shavasana shape. Pause. Bring awareness to the left and right sides of your body. And let's do side 2. So, right knee draws into the chest. And this left leg can stay bent if you need to. Otherwise, straighten it on out. And see if you can, without like intellectually thinking about it, like tap into your breath and see if you can feel like what came next. And if you remember those ankle circles, we did 3 in each direction. So stay with your breath rhythm, maybe even deepen it. And then go into the next thing you think we did, if your body can remember, which was those hip circles. So dropping that knee out to the side, external rotation, and start to internally rotate it as you bring it across. So just starting to explore a little bit. And again, make sure you go 3 in each direction. And we're going to go into thread the needle here, right? So maybe you kind of, as that knee goes out to the side, you bend the opposite knee to gracefully find your way into this. You can kind of do whatever works for you. Grabbing onto the lever leg and engaging. So as you pull the lever leg back into you, this ankle, this leg that's on top pushes away. So it's an external rotation and it's pushing into the lever leg. So we're activating a little bit here as we start to warm things up. Notice if your chin is like kind of pointed up to the ceiling, you can lift your head up, drop the chin so the front and the back of the neck are equally long. Then remember what we did was we kind of leaned our body a little bit over toward that lever leg, a couple of inches. Kind of explore that for a moment. Re-engage the push and the pull. All right. So if you know what pose comes next, slowly start to transition into it. But remember, the two hands are on the lever leg. Now look at, there's that foot. It's right there. It's so easy to grab. Oh, yeah, that's right. Reclining pigeon. Knee stays out to the side. Foot stays even with your midline. Lifting the foot away. Get that space, get that length, and then start to take the foot back and maybe a little down. So you're aiming, like I said, maybe like you kind of put your foot behind your head, or you're aiming towards your forehead or your nose. You're not aiming for your belly or your hip. This is what I see so often. People just kind of hanging out here. That ain't it. Take it up, over, and away. In fact, remember, let's bring the head and shoulders up off the ground. Pretend as if you are trying to put your foot behind your head. Keep that same motion and action going. Release the head and shoulders down. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths. So if there's a lot happening in your body right now, you can, back out a little bit if you need to, or you can maybe charge your breath up a little bit and see if you can kind of manage, see if you can linger, see if you can kind of like find a place of engaged harmony, if you will. All right, go into the next pose when you're ready, if you remember what it is. But remember, we went 2 hands on the lever leg to 2 hands on the foot. Now we're going 1 hand on the foot. We'll release this left hand, coming into half happy baby, or sort of like a dead lizard or upward facing lizard. Maybe it'd be a little bit more positive, less morbid. Again, it can be hard to get this ankle on top of the knee. So grabbing onto the heel is kind of a great grip to accomplish that. And then try to descend that knee maybe a little bit more toward the ground, kind of outside of the armpit area. Reaching the opposite leg away. Oh, yeah. Breathe deeply. That delivery of that kind of, oh, yeah, breathe is something that I remember being a teacher named Eric Schiffman, and I love the way he used to deliver that line. So props to Eric Schiffman. All right, now we went from 2 hands on the lever leg to 2 hands on the foot. Now 1 hand on the foot. Now it's, look, Ma, no hands. Half upward frog. Make sure you have the hip 90 degrees. Okay, not dropping the knee down, keeping that knee up, even with the hip. Not bringing that foot in, keeping it even with the knee. Ankle 90 degrees as well, so you're engaged here. Holding the float. The other thing that might happen too is some people put their foot down on the ground. It's like, well, my knee's up off the ground, JB. You didn't say nothing about my foot. Oh, sorry. Now I'm saying it. Keep the foot the same height as the knee from the ground. Last breath here. See if you remember what happens next, but you got this. You're already set up for it. We're going to bring this right hand onto the knee. And on an exhale, we're going to take the leg across the body. We're going to pass the leg over, left hand outside of that right knee. Gently guide it toward the floor as the right arm extends either straight out from the shoulder, up alongside the ear, or any place in between that feels good. Again, don't yank on this, don't pull it. If you're looking for that spinal Rice Krispie treat, instead, like coax it, massage it with your deep breathing. In fact, If you find that you can just relax, the muscles will sometimes let go for you and allow you to get a little bit deeper rather than forcing yourself. Another way you can kind of do this is bend this elbow, put the hand on the ribs, and sort of gently encourage the ribs down toward the floor. As our last exhale here, unless you want to linger for a bit more if it's feeling real juicy. Come onto your back. Bend both knees, feet flat. Pause here. And either stay here or straighten the legs out. We'll come into our final relaxation position. Letting go of any controlled breathing at this point. Maybe wiggle your shoulder blades underneath you a little bit to lift your heart ever so slightly. Some people say that the hips are kind of like a storehouse of emotions. So if you have unprocessed things, some say that that is where the body records it and remembers it. So as you release this, you might feel some things come up. Know that that's totally normal. You might feel some tingling happening down your legs into your toes. Totally normal. Just allow yourself to really melt in. And before you let go completely, I want you to just briefly check in once again. How do you feel physically right now? How do you feel mentally right now? And then how do you feel emotionally? Without comparing it to the beginning of class, yeah, you can notice if there was a change, but don't analyze it. Let that go. In fact, when you inhale, just say to yourself, let. When you exhale, say to yourself, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Let, go. If you'd like to lay on your back for a bit longer, you're welcome to. Otherwise, bend both knees, put the feet flat. Bring the arm up alongside the ear and just kind of roll yourself into a fetal position, pausing for a moment. And then use your hands, push yourself on up. And take a moment. Sit up nice and tall. Let your shoulders come down and feel if this position feels maybe a little bit different. Now that you've worked into these outer hips, that sequence is also really great if you're going to take a cross-legged seat for something like meditation. It's also a great sequence to do before you have maybe like a long car ride or a long airplane ride or something like that. and it'll just kind of allow you to be a little bit more comfortable in your seat. So we're going to take this sequence and build onto it with a couple of other sort of mini sequences and eventually result in a longer practice. But like I said at the beginning, you can totally take this sequence in isolation, practice it standalone, or combine it with other sequences as well. So have fun with it, come back to it, and you can mix and match, add poses into it that you might like, and enjoy. That's the big thing. Just like let this be a way to build intimacy with yourself on that physical, mental, and emotional level, all the while trying to combine those three with your breath, staying calm and focused. It's the name of the game. Have a great rest of your day. Be nice to people. Drink plenty of water. See you next time.